Today, we're breaking down the 3 out of the 4 pillars of health, and chances are you're not giving it nearly enough attention. The crazy part is, it's the one thing I hear most people talk about struggling with to execute, as we all need it. Welcome to The Practical Edge. We're here to strip down the old and rebuild the better you, helping redesign your life with clarity, courage, and practical strategies. If you're ready to stop settling and start evolving, you're in the right place, and I'll be your host, Dylan England. The third pillar, as said before, is one thing that silently shapes your health, mood, and longevity. Have you ever been sick and thought to yourself, I wish I appreciated not being sick more? Not having the energy, the brain clarity, and the ability to breathe or sleep well without coughing? Well, lacking this pillar can increase your chances of getting sick by 70%. And that pillar is, as you may have imagined by now, sleep. Not prioritizing quality sleep is going to affect all other variables and factors discussed in this podcast and beyond. Keeping in mind that there is a significant difference between prioritizing the quality of sleep that we may get and laying on the couch or resting in bed just because you're bored, unmotivated, or lacking direction. Having a toddler just past infant stage, sleep deprivation was the standard. You know what else is the standard? Seeming like we're trying to survive the 7 plagues after starting daycare. Our immune system was compromised, and our ability to make complex decisions was significantly altered. I'm pretty sure at one point in time, I forgot my name, and it hasn't changed in the past 35 years. One thing that helped, my wife and I decided to divide and conquer, developing a strategy where we took turns getting up through the night so that the other person can have unbroken sleep. And this strategy made things dramatically better. So one night we would choose that I'm going to get up through the night as my daughter would wake up. My wife would be able to sleep through the entire evening, getting unbroken sleep, thus feeling great the next day. Then we alternate just depending on what's going on and what our schedule looked like. Sometimes this strategy was easier said than done, but at some point in time, I was able to lay my head down on a pillow and just pass out instantly, regardless of the time. And for those who know me well enough, know that napping for me generally is a no-go. But in my mind, I've got too much to do, too little time. But when it comes to sleep, what I'm about to share as an essential reminder for all of us. Fellas, I'm talking to you first. Men who sleep 4 to 5 hours are bound to have significantly less testosterone than those who get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Ladies, you're not immune. Equivalently, reproductive hormonal changes are going to be affected in females. It's just the fact. When your body lacks sleep, it also is going to impair your immune system, reducing natural killer cells by 70% in some studies, which helps fight off viruses and some forms of cancer. So it literally means if you don't make time for your health, you will be forced to make time for your illness. It also affects your immune response to pathogens. So just one poor or shortened night of sleep, your immune system's affected for the entire week after that. Not building antibodies for your immune response to take place when you do get sick. As a person who travels for work, managing multiple businesses, and still working a W-2 job, this is a challenge to not lose sleep on late nights, red-eye flights, or early flights that fit my schedule, especially when I can't sleep on a plane, even if I'm sitting in first class. The lack of sleep also is going to affect brain function, as mentioned earlier, your physical ability to recover. It's going to provoke irritability or mood disorders, even increasing the risk of physical injury and chronic diseases like Alzheimer's dementia, rapid aging, affecting both lifespan and health span. It can promote aspects of obesity, congestive heart failure, stroke, and sadly, much more. If you're trying to learn something new, lacking sleep's also going to affect that, leading to a notable decrease in the ability to store information into what's called our hippocampus, which is a section of our brain, as sleep deprivation shuts down our brain's area to commit information to memory. The physical structure of our brain is also altered due to that chronic lack of sleep, and it's actually found that that area can shrink because of it. By now, you're saying, okay, Dylan, I get it. It's bad to miss out on sleep. It doesn't help the fact that I still struggle with sleep. So to that, I say, hear me out. As scheduling yourself 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night is both optimal and ideal, but in practicality, it's not always as simple as laying your head down and instantly falling asleep for most of us. This is where some strategies come to play that can be essential. Tracking your sleep quality and avoiding alcohol before you go to bed for better rest. Some people state that alcohol helps them fall asleep as it's a sedative. It numbs your frontal lobe and altering the quality of sleep, almost never reaching REM, which is the foundation that gives us most of our benefits when we sleep. So we'll get clusters where we wake up randomly or several times through the night, so it's not unbroken sleep. And before understanding the science of all of this, I personally enjoyed using or wearing my Garmin watch as it does help me track the duration, quality, and stress. I would admit that I was pretty skeptical until seeing it work consistently for myself in relation to how I felt. Unbiasedly, I tried to write information down of how I felt prior to even looking at the statistics on my watch. I'll add the Garmin link to the watches that help with this in terms of tracking this information. Disclaimer, I just recently became an affiliate with Garmin, so using those links is appreciated on my end as I've used their products since the early 2010 era or time when I was doing a lot of ultra running and triathlon events. But let's get back to some strategies. Dimming the lights well before you go to sleep, having blackout curtains, and eliminating the night and screen time before bed. In other words, no doom scrolling before bed if you want to prioritize quality sleep. There's even research that states if your phone is near you in the same room or same area, you mentally anticipate picking up that phone through the night, and it's going to affect the quality of sleep that you have. I understand that there are some sleep disorders that exist, but often than not, it's a lack of routine and strategic habits that's going to affect our sleep and our ability to fall asleep at a particular time. When we get into scheduling a routine or of waking up and sleeping around at the same time each day, it not only gets easier, our bodies might wake up minutes before our alarm system. And then when it's near time to get ready for bed, usually if we've exhausted our body and we've been on a consistent schedule long enough, we're going to realize that we're just starting to get a little tired, right? And that consistent schedule is something that our body can adapt to and accommodate to as long as we begin to go to sleep at the same time, including waking up at the same time. And sometimes a strategy is going to be setting an alarm first, waking up early enough to do what you need to do to get rolling for the day, as well as physically exhaust yourself. You're going to be tired by the end of the day. As long as that sleep cycle isn't impaired by things like alcohol or stimulants like caffeine, stress, or screen time, getting those under intentional control may be your issue. For those who pay attention to daylight savings time, there's over a 20% increase of heart attacks, increased suicide, anxiety, vehicle accidents, and on the flip, when we gain an additional hour, there's actually a correlation with the same percentage of reduction of all of those complications that I just expressed. So sleep when you're dead is not a serving quote of advice due to it increasing all-cause mortality. Here are some actionable tips that you can do to improve your sleep. And it's going to be starting with changing your habits, not your goals. Getting into a routine of sleep, wake with consistent times. So going to bed at the same time every single night. And if you struggle with that, have that alarm consistently waking you up. And if you're not tired by the end of the day, perhaps you haven't physically exhausted your body well enough. To which I then defer you to the previous episode that I spoke on, which is exercise, getting moving and physically exhausting that body. So exercise tends to fatigue the body, allowing our sleep to improve from a schedule perspective. It helps with duration of sleep and quality of sleep. Another strategy is going to be darkening out the room as much as possible, removing that technology if it's a simple modification that we can make. If not, we've got blackout curtains, which are great, just to try to make it a little bit darker in the room. Although there are some supplements that help us fall asleep, like magnesium citrate or melatonin, they often don't optimize the benefit of sleep. Yet I'd admit that, as I just mentioned, I still take some of those at a low dose to consistently help improve my ability to fall asleep, especially on days that I do take caffeine or drink caffeine after noon. Sleep, as suggested, affects all realms of health. It should be prioritized in order to live out the fourth pillar of health, which we'll talk about next week. Until then, remember, your next level doesn't come from wishing. It comes from daily consistent action. Lean into discomfort and stay relentless. Average is optional, growth is a choice, and the practical edge is where you sharpen that choice. Until next time, stay focused, stay driven, and keep leveling up.